Hi, my name is Jennifer Bonham, and this is my final research presentation. I'm currently a graduate student at Morningside University. I'm a high school teacher at Abraham Lincoln High School in Council Bluffs. I have 20 years teaching experience, and I teach advanced placement psychology, and U.S. history. The title of my research was The Effect of Music on the Academic Achievement and Student Engagement of Students in a Social Studies Classroom. My problem statement reflects, first of all, the low test scores by U.S. public school high school students who, according to the NAEP 2017, are scoring below proficient in math, reading, U.S. history, geography, and civics. We are also seeing low student engagement in high schools, and this is impacting academic achievement. And also achievement and engagement are both decreasing in high schools nationwide, making it a national concern and an issue that teachers in the high schools need to deal with. Why me? First of all, I see achievement and engagement as problems in my classroom. I also see students who are disengaged also achieving lower test scores or not passing the class. And therefore, I feel there needs to be an effective implementation an effective strategy as a solution to this problem. I also have a personal interest on the impact of music on neural processing of information because I am a high school psychology teacher. I spend a lot of time teaching and studying the brain, and so my interest lies in how music impacts that neural processing as we are learning new information. For my literature review, first of all, was a discussion of the Mozart effect. So this theory was developed by Gordon Shaw. It has become popular in the last few decades and has become trendy in some aspects, and it states that listening to classical music will increase intelligence. So you see a lot of educators, early childhood educators, parents getting on the bandwagon for classical music, and therefore it's important to evaluate the effectiveness of this particular intervention on intelligence and achievement. First of all, is a study conducted by Taylor and Rowe that examined the impact of the Mozart effect, and this was done on college students. And this particular study had the experimental group listen to Mozart while the control group did not, and they were listening to this music, and then they participated in an outcome assessment, and results did indicate that there was a slight increase in test scores in the experimental group who were exposed to that background music. Another study that was done by Wynn and Gran 2017 looked at the impact of background music on memory, and this really connected to my theoretical framework because I was looking at that neural processing theory. And so this looked at really how music can impact memory and your ability to recall information when listening to low arousal or low stimulating music. And this study also did find that there was an increase in memory when students were listening to that low arousal music. And then lastly was a study conducted by Josefina Laborde and Scales that looked at the impact of classical music during learning on the academic performance of undergraduate students. So this was similar to the study done by Taylor and Rowe. These students, those in the experimental group, listened to classical music during the lecture, and the control group did not. After the lecture, both students completed a multiple choice exam on the information that was presented in the lecture, and there was again a slight increase in mean scores with students who were exposed to that music. So the mean score for the experimental group in this case was 14.5. The control group was a 12.2, so there was a slight increase. The impact, music does have the potential to improve concentration and reduce distractions. Additionally, music has shown to have an impact on both the intellectual and social development of children of all ages, so not just high school students, but all students. And also, again, relating to my theoretical framework, music has been found to improve that cognitive processing speed and also memory. Potential problems. Academic achievement is a national concern, and as you can see by the test results listed here from the National Assessment of Educational Progress in 2017, 12th grade students scored significantly below proficient in reading, math, and U.S. history, and you can see the percentages there. And these are students ready to graduate, so definitely a concern. Students' perception of engagement has shown to impact achievement. So students who feel disengaged from school or do not feel connected to school also tend to do poorly. And also, when we see low achievement and poor student engagement, that is also connected to dropout rates because students are not feeling connected to school. They tend to drop out. And so the National Center for Educational Statistics reports that 15 to 24 students dropped out of high school within this time period without earning a diploma. So about 567 students were dropping out of high school. Looking at the gap in research, there has been research done on the impact of music on academic achievement, but nothing looking at the impact of music on student engagement. And so because engagement does connect so closely to academic achievement, I felt that it was important to address both of those. Purpose statement. The purpose of this study was to determine if the addition of classical background music to small group instruction would impact academic achievement and student engagement. A hypothesis was that high school students receiving standard small group instruction will have improved academic achievement and student engagement compared to students receiving only standard small group instruction. Variables. So the independent variable here was the type of instruction, and that varied between the experimental group and control group. The experimental group received standard small group instruction and the additional classical background music, whereas the control group had only standard small group instruction and no background music. The dependent variable was academic achievement and student engagement, and I used experimental research to conduct this experiment. Possible impact. This impact of this study can help teachers find a strategy that will actually increase achievement and engagement in the classroom. And it's also enabling me to assess the impact of music in the classroom to determine if and how to use music as a strategy in the classroom and to use it effectively if it is used. Methods. So the participants in my group, I had 30 total participants, 15 in the experimental group, and I had 15 in the control group. All of them were 10th grade U.S. history students. And the students in the study did not have an IEP, so that I was assessing achievement on an equal level. Materials. I used a 10th grade U.S. History District curriculum for U.S. history, classical music that I obtained from Apple Music, unit district assessments, and then the student engagement inventory. My procedure, I established a daily routine for my procedure. So daily instruction was Monday through Friday for 60 minutes every day. And I used the first 5 minutes to introduce class or to introduce the class and have our bell work. 20 minutes was my teacher directed instruction. So this included things like mini lecture from me, PowerPoints, teacher directed notes. The 30 minutes was the small group instruction, and this was the time that the classical music played for the experimental group. And within this time period, the students participated in group work. They did things like graphic organizers. They did collaborative PowerPoint.